Welcome back to Aether Eternius, Dark Side of the Foundry. It's been a while. We've had some problems with real life and burnout in some cases, but that happens. When last we left off, the group finally had made to the Feywild, though they had been separated in the process. Luminosa and Frias had wound up in what was known as, my notes, the Spring Equinox's Tavern, which was sort of the proxy of several inns and taverns that Auntie R runs. This in particular had been connected to the plains through a mirror, which was now broken. The rest of the group, consisting of Rose, Tiberius, and Various, wound up in the hedge itself, a sort of in-between of the various different realms that make up the Feywild, several different kingdoms, and like the hedge kind of runs as, think of it like you're looking at space, and the matter between it all, the dark matter, the space in space, that's the hedge. While the Feywild and its cities are like the planets that kind of operate in that space. It's not really a physical place. At least thinking of that. Not really, because it changes constantly. But the group kind of began to move forward, but only to realize that they had not come through together. They were beset by pixies, who decided to play a prank on them. Said prank involved trapping them in deep fog, and with a little bit of intimidation, they finally dispersed, revealing that they were pretty much on what looked to be a forest trail amongst tall, almost endless trees and brambles. At the tavern, Luminosa and Frias kind of settle in, sort of, and kind of get their bearings of where they were. They met the current tavern sort of manager on hand, a dwarven woman, and learned that shit's kind of fucked in Wonderland right now. No one's let in, no one's let out, and for the most part, everyone's kind of pointing fingers at one another. And also back in the hedge, the trio wound up coming across a Cheshire cat, which asked them they would show them a way to get into Wonderland, a means to get there, if they cleared their house of a pest problem, which were a bunch of tea-kettled mice. On a really impressive show of strength from Belua against their champion, which was a giant rare rat, they managed to kind of kick the mice out and got some gold in the process, as well as a means of finding a goblin market, which was eventually their ticket into Wonderland. And of course, they did a little bit of shopping while they were there. Rose even met a fellow blue mage. But eventually, back in Wonderland, Luminosa and Frias kind of ran afoul of some shady figures in the bar when they tried to interrogate them about who caused the murder, what did they know. They didn't know anything. Which sadly wound up getting kicked out. But thankfully the group eventually reunited, and after a bit of shenanigans, somehow wound up with a magical wine bottle that now has unlimited wine, much to everyone else's headache and Luminosa's unadulterated joy.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually the group kind of wound their way into the Spring Court sector of Wonderland, where they found a small ryokan-based inn. They were able to bargain with the yokai that ran the place, a small kind of older lady that had two tails. Cat tails, most specifically. And they eventually settled in for the night. Everyone settled in for the night. And as you all slumber,
I would like to opt out of this.
As you all fall asleep for the night, you each have a dream. Various, you're first.
Oh.
Various, you're standing back in the Knoll District. The winds are whipping around you. You can hear thunder, lightning, crackling all around you. In front of you is your sister. She's beaten, she's torn, she's battered, She has blood dripping down her chin. You and her are alone. There's no Belua, none of your friends are around. It's just you and her. You feel yourself taking a few steps forward. You're reaching your hands out to her. You want to help her. You want to bring her out of this darkness that she's been pulled into. But before you reach her, her body slumps forward, losing any and all color as it begins to crumble to dust in your hands. Almost like touching a pile of ash. More importantly, there's nothing inside this pile of ash. There's nothing there. But then something begins to stir behind you. You hear the grinding of stone, the grinding of metal, as you turn and look around and see this monstrous metallic construct beginning to rise from the ground, twitching, violently shaking as it's trying to pull some sort of energy from a glowing core in its chest. And you hear your sister screaming from inside of it. And that's the end of your dream. Tiberius.
No.
Yes. As you wander off into your own slumber, you get a nice, comfy futon, you rest your head back and drift off. But you feel as if you're sinking. You open your eyes, you snap open your eyes, rather, and there's nothing around you. But you're still sinking. There's something wet clinging to your arms and your body. You look down, it's not black, it's not tar-like. It's red. It smells of iron. You begin to struggle, you begin to claw away at this weird red, almost blood-like mass, trying to clamber around for anything to hold on to. And right as you're pulled under, you feel something grab your outstretched hand and begin to pull you up. You can barely see a figure. Its arm is a mangled, twisted amalgamation of flesh, bone. They're wearing some sort of robe that covers a majority of their body and their head. But you hear a familiar voice. Tiberius, wake up. And you wake up. Rose. As you fall asleep, you do so on your own. You want to try to search your memories for something that might help you where you're at. But as you begin searching and searching, you find that you actually lose control of your dream. You're pulled violently through halls upon halls of white marble and blue tape tapestries. You find yourself standing in front of what appears to be 4 different figures. 2 smaller figures that seem to be dressed in almost bright springtime colors with greens and purples and bright pinks. One looks like a satyr. The other looks like a large bug-eyed, almost moth-esque like creature with various different flowers and leaves all over its body. But behind them, you see Jericho and Florence. Well, at least who they used to be. Tybalt and Mercutio. They're staring down at you. The 2 in the back, the 2 blue gentry, are just smiling while the other 2 grab your arms and are beginning to drag you. You feel an intense heat behind you as you look behind you in panic. There is a gateway ripped open to what looks like the very bowels of hell itself. You're still conscious in the stream as you are primordial, but you recognize what this is. This was the moments before your death. These 2 are spring courtiers. Why are they working with 2 very powerful, very dangerous gentry? You don't have much time to think about it as you're thrown through the portal to your death. And you wake up. Luminosa. You're still new to this whole primordial thing, so the habits of sleep still kind of creep up on you from time to time. As you drift off, you're at first met with nothing. Darkness, quiet, until you feel as if you're being shaken awake. You slowly open your eyes, groggily and look from side to side. This is not the bed you fell asleep in. The bed is covered in regal silks, and there's tapestries on the walls. It's a four-poster bed with golden sort of posts with large drapery around it to kind of block any light to give you your beauty sleep, you know. But there's someone at your bedside with your hand in theirs, trying to shake you awake. Their face is blurry, though. You can't quite make it out. They're asking you to wake up. Wake up, big brother, wake up. I want to play. You promised you'd play with me today. And as you begin to try to move, you feel yourself sinking into the bed itself. The voice is fading away, and eventually you see nothing but darkness once again. And you wake up. And Frias, you're alone. For some reason. It looks like you're back in Auntie's tavern, but it's different. It's changed. You start poking around, looking for doors. There's no doors. So you start to head upstairs. Maybe you can find a window to look out of. You finally find one at the end of the hall. But before you can start to look out, you hear screams from downstairs. Those are your friends' screams. You can clearly hear Tiberius. You can hear the howls of pain from Rose and Luminosa. You quickly rush downstairs, but the stairs are much longer than you remember when they came up. Eventually, you spill out into what looks to be a grand ballroom. The stairs behind you are gone, but the sight before you is all of your friends are sitting on the ground, a few face first in their own blood, barely clinging to life as you look forward and see that there's some sort of figure standing in front of it all, regally garbed in flower-like robes and suits with a long, flowing rapier at their side. Before they turn to face you, your dream ends. And you all wake up the next morning. You all get a full rest. As you all wake up, the morning air is crisp, clear, and it's about, I'd say, 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning at this point. You hear a lot of commotion outside, just in general with everyone waking up. Markets are opening, shops are opening, and you can hear a few other patrons that had been here for the night also getting up and going about their morning routine. The day is yours. What do you want to do?
Who's awake first?
Why don't you all give me a roll? Just everyone.
What kind of roll?
Just a random 1d20. Everyone. This will be the order you wake up in. Okay.
Last as usual.
Various, you're the first one to snap awake. Eventually Tiberius, you will wake up after Various, with Frias and Rose waking up at the same time, and then Luminosa the last. But Various, you snap awake, you jolt awake. You're back in the inn room. Everyone else is around you.
He looked around for a long moment and then just slowly leans back again.
About this time, Tiberius is waking up as well.
I'm not surprised.
Oh. What was that?
Nothing. Sleep well, Various. Question? Yes?
No. I'm
Some
guessing
kind of-
you didn't either.
I've had worse dreams, but I would not rank that in one of the most enjoyable ones.
And about
Is
this
it
point,
your
point, Frius and Rose are starting to wake up as well, just kind of slowly.
Prius,
Mm.
why are you slumped over my legs?
You're warm. I
I
hate to
blame
say it,
Daywine.
Rose, but that is probably the case.
Reminds me of home.
Aw. And about this time, Luminosa starts waking up, hearing everyone else starting to stir.
Yeah, and they'll come down the stairs.
Right.
By the way, Rose, if we're ever in a survival situation, you are going to become the heater.
That's not unexpected.
Legit.
Where's the food?
At about this time, there's a light knock on the paper doors to your in-room.
Well, someone get that.
Fine.
Thank you.
Darius is going to slowly push himself up and sort of hobble towards the door. You know that sort of stiffness when you've just woken up?
Mm-hmm. And on the other side of the door is the old lady. She is kind of pushing along a little cart. She kind of sees that you've all woken up and will give you a light bow. Again, no words are exchanged. Before she comes in and starts clearing an area, setting out little plates, little like bowls that have this interesting little white grain inside of them, as well as various different dishes that have a lot of vegetables. There are a lot of vegetables on this table, not a lot of meat.
Thank goodness.
Mostly roasted, some in soup, but it seems to be a nice light breakfast that she's setting out before bowing and then leaving to tend to the other guests. It all looks very, like, presentable and nice. Like, nice looking in general. Like, there's even little fruits that have been carved in the shape of flowers and all that kind of stuff.
She seemed oddly aware of when we were waking up.
Well, the rest of you sound like a Avara getting bitten, so makes sense that they'd hear you. Additionally, Various, you snore quite loudly, so when that stopped, I guess they figured you were awake or dead. One of the two.
Do not snore.
Actually, give me a perception check there, Various.
Gosh darn it.
Let's give me a perception check.
Let's see if I can actually do this.
Okay.
Nothing.
You're kind of looking at the table that's been set up, but then you start to look around the rest of the room. You notice that the bath towels and stuff that you would use the night before have already been changed. So it's a high chance that it's not so much they knew you were awake. They're just going on a schedule, and they've already come in and done several things while you were asleep. So this was just part of the daily routine for this old lady.
You just see various sort of eyes narrow as they look around, and especially look at the towels, the fresh towels.
Mm-hmm. You don't remember hearing anything during the night.
Did any of you happen to see her come in? Luminosa?
No, I would sleep.
Rose?
Out cold.
What are you getting on with, Various?
Those were used last night when I went to sleep.
Yes, and the help came and fixed it. What's the problem? Are you not used to people coming in while you're asleep to settle your things?
No, usually I have my door locked.
Meanwhile, Tiberius is like, this is normal. This is just good service.
Yeah, this is adequate service. Correct.
Adequate, there you go.
Various, when you pay someone to be in their What is this? Inn? This is called an inn.
I think the term you're looking for is establishment.
Thank you. When you pay someone to be in their establishment, generally speaking, they do things for you, like prepare your towels, clean your clothes, give you proper baths. It's common courtesy for payment.
You get bathed by people?
Of course.
Well, that explains his reliance on prestidigitation.
Yeah, that doesn't happen here.
Anyhow, where are we on our getting into that place that we need to go for that thing we need to do?
Yeah, about that. Let's get some grub here. Let's talk shop.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of food out, but it's a case of not an overwhelming amount of food. A lot of things are very well presented. Each bite has a very strong flavor to it, and in general, like, everything was made with purpose. Not stupidly super overfilling, as some tavern food tends to be. This was made, like, with some class behind it. So you have vegetables that were roasted, or that were marinated but then roasted, presented on very delicate, like crackers or breads. There is even a bread basket, but the bread is nicely toasted and warm.
Tiberius is taking the biggest bowl of sautéed and spiced vegetables. They're his.
Oh yeah, big time. There's
Tiberius
even
is gonna reach out to grab one.
There even looks to be a bowl of what looks to be spiced cabbage.
Mage hand slap on Varys' hand. Let's go.
There is like little placemats for each one of you, as well as individual size portions for each of you. So
Various is gonna go for the spiced cabbage if nobody else goes for it.
Varys, would you mind passing me some of that spiced cabbage, though?
You hear his foot pump as he just pulls it over, puts it on his plate, and glowers.
The audacity of some people. No manners, I tell you.
Rose is gonna be full basic and just grab some toast.
There's plenty of that. There's even butter. There's a cheese spread for it all. There's also a bean spread that looks to be made of red beans.
It's all gonna become charcoal anyway.
Yeah, no spreads, no butters. We're just getting that
Crunchy
fiber.
Crunchy bread.
Well, going full basics, I see. Survivalist roast, I like it.
How about you, Az?
Just about to type. Freya is just watching watching the two buns fight over food, and then is just like, more bread out of the backpack from the tavern.
Oh, that's right. You got like a ton of breadsticks, didn't you?
Yes.
You had,
Drunken
like,
theft.
a ton of breadsticks. Luminoso, what about you? How are you enjoying your breakfast?
I am going for anything that is pastry-like.
There's a few. In particular, there seem to be these, you know those, what are they called? They look almost, like layered pastries, but they're kind of fanned out in a way. They're, like, really super crispy and really super buttery, with, like, the large crystal sugar chunks on top of it. What is the name of those? Cannot remember the name of them.
Are they strudels?
Yes, thank you. And they seem to be filled with some sort of creamy red bean paste that is just a right amount of sweet. Not super stupid sweet, but enough to counterbalance the buttery pastry.
I taste it, and I eat it. It is yummy.
It is very flaky. It's actually kind of crispy as well. So, satisfying crisp.
I'm guessing when it goes up to her mask, it vanishes. As if she'd taken a bite.
Actually, she is going to turn away and, like, lift the mask up and just start shoving it underneath the mask.
Yes! Yeah.
like the very delicate, just politely turning away, lifting the mask, and then I don't know.
Oh yeah, I just pictured that scene with Kerbo noises. Oh my god.
It's amazing.
So now that we all have some food, and Varys isn't sharing the cabbage, Rose, you wanted to speak about Chop.
Yeah. While we're all gathered here, I think... Actually, no, it's... We need to establish a few basics of how we're going to navigate around here. There's a couple of things I think we touched on the night before, but just to lay everything out here. First and foremost, we need to come up with cover names for each of us. We cannot risk any Fae, especially any that are going to be any significant power, to know our true names. That could lead to a whole host of trouble.
How so?
You...
There was never a problem with Flix.
I think, well...
Again, Flix
think
did accidentally pledge themselves to us.
That's also because Flix was not an asshole.
Aw, you do care.
But the point is that...
Russ is like, we're just gonna gloss over that.
Aww.
It's like, anyways, back to the PowerPoint presentation. But look, Flix is one thing, but, and women also, I mean, you have to at least be aware of this. I mean, you probably see interactions between Fae and mortals, you know, back when you spend time here. It's, if a Fae with nefarious intent gets a true name, they can have an almost unlimited amount of control and influence on that person. And that's something that could happen to any of us here. Even Fae won't reveal their true names to other Fae. At least as much as possible.
Depends on the Fae. And the Fae they're in company with.
So, that being said, I think our first course of action should at least to have each of us come up with an assumed name to use. Oh, just be safe.
There you go. Meanwhile, Varys is just crunch.
I don't think he's had cabbage in a very long time. I'm pretty sure Tibbs hasn't had some of these things in a very long time either.
Yeah, this is normal food.
I forgot. I have to do something.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What are you talking about? It's fine.
No, it's not.
I'd say perception or insight.
The nature is slowly floating quietly towards the cabbage.
Bellowa suddenly takes shape behind Various.
Oh.
Mine.
Fine. I'll give you one serving of these delicious sautéed vegetables for one serving of your spicy cabbage.
Equal amounts?
Of course. What do you take me for?
Tiberius.
Yes, that is my name.
And he's going to slowly cut
Same
off
time.
a portion. Huh?
Same time. I know your tricks.
Mm-hmm. Cut off a portion of cabbage, put it on a little plate. Wait for Tibbs to do the same.
Tibbs will do the exact same, watching him carefully.
Slowly sliding the cabbage plate.
Mage handed the plate towards Various.
And swap.
Delicious. See, I don't see what the problem was. You could have easily shared.
Mmm.
Stand on the cabbage. That was not what I was expecting today, but here we are. Yeah, I expect that from the script. It's great. But, you guys are just kind of quietly eating roast. No one's come up with a fake name yet. But you did watch the two buns fight over cabbage.
Right. Priorities.
Well, we haven't eaten since yesterday morning.
Right. It's alright. Let's I know we're all still getting
Not to mention
Lisa's
we've had
place.
to eat bacon. Ugh.
Oh.
Yes, meats don't exactly work too well with Hopolitions. There's some Cementonians who like that thing, but not Hopolitions. It's... What's the word I'm looking for? Vile. That's it, yes.
Oh yeah, it reminds me. We once we're done with this mess, I really need to find a better repository for our veggies at home.
Yes. Perhaps we can worry about that once we return home. At this point, the making up of names, I think that Various should be called,
Be careful what you say.
No, that's a terrible name. You look more like a... To be honest, you look like a Various. It's the name that suits you the most. That face is just perfect for the name Various. So dumpy.
Excuse you?
Give you your entire race.
We could go with your middle name again, but we know how well that went because it just does not fit you. Markin is far more of a nobler name than Various.
I haven't struck you in at least 2 weeks, but you are tempting me.
Oh, am I getting under your fur?
You just see Bellowa looming.
Filbert and Dillard.
Excuse you? You got out snorting. Good job.
Oh, I wasn't the one snorting.
Oh, that was no. That's even better. You broke the gem again. Good job, Allie. Record timing.
Yep, I did.
Those are brilliant.
That is absolutely not.
No, I refuse to be called Filbert.
Well, that's too bad, Filbert. That is your name while we are here. It's a good, strong name that won't link anywhere near your actual name.
Do I look like a Filbert?
Kind of.
How dare you? How very dare you?
Someone woke up and chose violence.
I'm gonna make it call you Phil for short.
Very well. You shall be Roberta.
Another crypto game.
I was gonna go with Rodrigo Rodriguez III.
That's a terrible name.
It's a fantastic name.
No, Roberta. We can call you Rob for short.
I don't want to be
I love
called
the same
Dillard.
Quiet, Dylan.
Mm.
If I'm stuck with Phil, of all names,
Filbert?
Dillard is perfectly fine for you.
Ah,
Dillard. Go on, name Rose, name Freyas. I'm sure you have wonderful names for them. Better not be good.
Freya looks at Rose.
Right, what do you have?
fine.
No, I like Tiberius's idea. Go on. Shoot something.
You mean shoot you a name.
Yes, that was what was hinted at.
Oh,
Miriam and Wilfred.
what?
Oh, those are wonderful names. Miriam and Wilfred.
I call him Wilford.
Okay, fine.
Waldorf, that's a terrible name.
Fine, so long as I'm the Wilford.
You don't look much like a Miriam.
No, that's Mofrius. Or Miriam.
I miss a bit of Miriam.
Well, while we're thinking of names, does Belua need another name? I mean, technically, Belua is part of Various. I mean... Dillard.
For the sake of completeness, I would say yes.
Snuggled Bun.
You hear a low growl. No.
We can't all have wonderful names. Snuggle Bun is the one that fits you the best. I mean, look at the fur.
You just hear a low growl.
Become Snugs for short.
See? It's a wonderful idea. Listen.
I mean, that's not... I mean, to be fair, Snugs is not the worst name. I mean, it could be like one of those ironic name things where it's like, here's this harbinger of destruction. We call them Snugs. I don't know.
Yes, they'll never expect it.
But how much of destruction we call him Tim?
How dare you?
So, it is settled. This is
Timothy.
This is Snugs. Willard.
No. Wilfred.
Wilfred.
Miriam.
Miriam.
Dillard.
Dillard.
And Filbert.
Philibert.
I hate it.
Make sure you write your names down so you remember them.
Hell no.
And I am Robert.
This will be important.
Oh god. Why?
Oh, I know what I'll do. Just rename this. And
So make sure you write down the OC. I love that. Perfect.
I knew that backup sheet would be good for something.
There you go.
As long as it's not permanent. Ugh.
Well, so long as stay in the Feywild, you just gotta be careful.
Very well. There. Rose. I'm sorry. Willard. We now have
Wilfred.
Wilfred. We now have our names.
Alright, now that is been taken care of, let's move on here. Another... Okay, we're just gonna run over some Fey basics here, and I'm sure that Luminosa can attest to this, and feel free to step in if anything else needs clarification. Besides names and titles being everything, they do have a proclivity that they can't tell outright lies. They can twist their words, twist the truth, as it were, as so long as they aren't outright giving you a complete lie. So you may want to be wary of that.
So just like back home. Wonderful. Everything
Yeah.
can have truth. Everything else is a total lie. Understood.
Now you're catching on. Oh, another thing too. If a fae offers you something just completely out of the blue, it could be a gift or a boon or something, be extremely wary of that. Because nothing around here is going to be given without either some sort of string attached or some sort of price, or it's like the favor system back home, only it's more of a pain in the ass here.
Right, so don't accept any gifts. Pretend that everyone is trying to kill you or otherwise wants something done to you. And any other rules, because this is sounding very much like I'm back home.
Yes, this sounds very much like the academy.
Will there be knives around every corner? What?
The angry bunny.
Angry
Look
knobs.
at the nose. Angry knobs. On bark bread.
The faster we get this done, the faster we can stop having these ridiculous monikers.
What do you bet
Right.
there's even other... I guess they're not Gardanians, are they? What would they be?
Hey?
I mean, technically, everything around here is going to be some sort of species or subspecies of Fae for the most part. But yes, like the weird cat we saw earlier, there are various animalistic creatures.
Excuse you?
I wasn't meaning
Wait,
to bundle
weird
you in
cat?
there.
Oh, we ran into a cat. That had us fight mice. And a giant rat.
Oh. Oh my.
Yes, it was quite annoying.
They are called rats, right? Mice and rats?
They're not
Yes.
rodents?
They in particular were rats.
Why couldn't everything just be Gardanian shaped? It would have been so much more simple.
You just want to punch rabbits?
Like I said, like back home.
I thought you didn't want to go home though.
There'd be some catharticism with punching individuals who might resemble individuals that I wish I could punch. He's just slowly looking at Various.
Slow glare back.
Sims has woken up and chosen violence today, I see.
Okay, yes, to get straight to the point, yes, there is a lot in common. Yes, the aristocrats here are probably just as much of assholes as they are for you back home, Tiberius, but not all of us come from that background. That's why I'm laying this out here for the rest of us.
Apologies, I simply was informing Various of who should be leading in diplomatic relations down here.
You think it should be you?
Of course. And
Oh,
what
lay your
exactly-
ears down.
What exactly do you find so funny of that? I survived quite a long time being who I am, doing what I've done.
Yes, but you've never dealt with Fae before.
How difficult could it be?
Oh, you know what? Let's let him lead. I want to watch.
I just imagine that Rose has the look of, please God, no, don't.
I mean, the Allfather's not looking over this place. Rose is just here for the ride. Right. If we're done with that, let's get to the next topic here about how exactly we're going to start investigating the Fae King's murder here. My thought on this is that the courts that are perhaps the most receptive to speaking to other strangers, then the Ottoman court might be our best bet, especially since so far they seem to be the only one that's in favor of this. What was their name? Reggie or something? Reginald, right. They're the only ones that have the backing for Reginald, thinking that they weren't responsible for their murder. And
Alright.
I'm figuring that if that's the case, then maybe that'll make them slightly more desperate for, other people to side with them. So I figured they might be our best chance to at least start getting something in there so we can start finding out more what's going on with the courts, and then try to work our way up from there.
Seems like a decent enough beginning.
That's kind of where, and Rose gestures a hand over the new sort of autumn-style tailored coat that they're wearing. That's where my plan for me comes into this. What I was thinking was that I could pose as an emissary from the Fire Plane, because we know that the Fae Court has been trying to strike up political favors with the Lords. So I could assume that I'm an emissary sent by Leonard to try to
this
broker something.
This will completely not blow up in our faces.
I mean, the Fae are just not going to speak to a bunch of commoners, especially if we're talking about, higher up in a particular court. Then, if our best shot may be to try to pose as people of influence from our plane.
And the only one here who has any kind of standing from the Foundry is yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Wilfred.
Well, we do have some standing with water.
Right. And we know that Leonard's tradition is... Leonard basically has an open arms policy. There's more than just primordials that live under him. So it wouldn't be all that unusual to have a fire emissary with, quote-unquote outsiders that are also assisting.
I can't think of a better plan, so I guess we'll have to go with that.
Now there's a matter of figuring out where the Autumn Court hangs out, or at least try to get into someone's ear.
I do have one last thing.
Yeah?
What is it, Dillard?
Did anyone else happen to have strange dreams?
Affirmative.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Group hallucinations. Joy.
so it's like the last time.
Yes, and I can assure you that it's not Yogg doing it. That had already had a chat with him, and he did not refuse, but he said that it wasn't him doing such an act on us.
Wonderful.
Anyone else have a nice dream of death, or
Heard a voice that I hadn't heard in a long time. Sure, it's nothing, just my mind playing tricks on me. That's all. Drowning in blood.
Doubt that.
What was that last part?
Drowning in blood. Not that uncommon.
It's pretty uncommon.
Is it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
You have very strange dreams if you're not constantly drowning in the blood of those that you've wronged. Huh.
I don't know. Do lords have blood? Let's be fair. In my past life, I wronged a lot of lords.
Anyhow. Rose, we will try and find this autumn court then, and you will introduce yourself as
an emissary.
emissary Wilfred to Leonard.
That's the plan.
Right, well, off we go. I'm just going to take
So
some
you guys
inspection
gonna-
of the road.
So you guys gonna head on out of the inn?
Tiberius is going to fold a few into a handkerchief and take them with him.
Okay.
Those vegetables.
Okay.
Various
hard to
has
do.
finished their section of the cabbage.
Okay.
They may have wolfed it down.
Everyone else?
Yep.
Yep. Set.
Who's leading the way? Or rather, the more important question, what's your marching order?
Oh boy.
Who's in
I would
front?
think you Rose
Who's in
front.
between? And who's in the back?
Rose will be up front.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Wilfred will be up front.
Right.
Mhm.
Philva chooses to be in the middle.
Okay.
Miriam's
River's gonna
falling
take up
back.
the rear.
No, Miriam's in the back. How dare you?
Okay. So, as you leave the tavern, it's pretty much an early morning. You see there's a few other people in the kind of courtyard area of the inn you were staying in. They look to be adventurer types. They have a lot of packs, a lot of satchels. They seem to be relaxing, enjoying a drink on the sort of outdoorsy area. No one really pays you any mind. I mean, they've probably seen a lot stranger things if they're here in Wonderland of all places. But as you leave and pass through the front main gates into the street, as it was before, there's a lot of flowers everywhere, a lot of vines. Everything looks like it's been overgrown with just flowers and foliage and everything. It's typical of the spring court to be a lot like this. And as with everything with the spring court, there is a scent of fresh flowers, of sugar, of alcohol brewing somewhere in probably someone's shop. There's a lot of noise and a lot of music on the wind. Even this early in the morning, it is very lively. Spring are kind of known for being very jubilant, lots of partying. And you can really see that from the architecture here, which I have not drawn because I am not that skilled, sadly. And it took me forever and I gave up.
Oh, it's all good. Backgrounds suck.
They do. Oh, they do. But at the very least, you know from looking at, there is a few city maps, a few little kiosks here and there that you see adventurers going to here and there, depending on where they have to go. And you can see that the city is a relatively large city. There are different quadrants kind of sectioned off for each court. You're currently in the spring court, one of the smaller of the city sectors, as it's almost like you get the spring court kind of in the lower southwest, and then next to it you have the autumn court. It kind of bridges over what looks to be a river into what looks to be almost a very cartoony market row kind of detailed drawing that says the autumn court. And above them is the winter, and then if you go over and you head north from where you are northwest, you'll head up to the summer court. And in the very center, they all kind of coalesce into the main sort of, what's a good term for it? Sort of the main hub of the city before it goes further north over a large bridge into the main castle. But if you head to the east over the bridge over the river, you'll head to the section of the city that belongs to the Autumn Court.
All right, and yeah, Wilfred is going to lead them all that way, unless anyone says otherwise.
Yeah, we'll follow.
We'll follow our wonderful beach shield.
And since you're the one leading the way, Rose, I need you to do a straight 1d20 luck check.
Oh, this is
Rest in
fine.
peace.
Holy!
Oh, well, okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
Give me a second. Hold up. I gotta look through my notes.
As long as they don't roll a natural 20, this happens. Shit.
You crit it. Suddenly Kraken. Ass knows my pain.
Okay.
I'm sitting next to the person who knows the pain.
As you guys are walking along, it's a pretty busy morning, but as it starts to taper on toward the bridge that leads to the Autumn Court section of Wonderland, the crowds do start to thin out a little bit. Rose, as you guys are walking, so there's a glimmer off to the side of the road. It catches your eye for a few seconds, since usually when it comes down to the Spring Court, they keep things really tidy and clean. But you kind of pause and then kind of move to the side a little bit and kind of try to find what exactly is down in this ditch, and you find what looks to be a pouch of discarded gold coins. Not just any gold coins, these are fey coins. And we find 14 fey coins. Now, at the very least, these are considerably more influential than gold here. So the gold that you have, at the very least, these probably are going to make up a good chunk of that you've already spent so far.
All right. And does Wilfred know the conversion rate from gold to fey coins?
You don't know the current conversion rate, no.
Okay, just that this is really good currency.
Yes. A pretty decent amount of it. Whoever lost it is probably missing it.
Too bad, so sad.
I believe the term is finders keepers, losers weepers.
Okay.
Losers. Always weeping.
And then you continue on. The city does drastically change as you pass over the large bridge. The river below is sparkling, flowing, but it has a different shade to it. In fact, you can see it's coming directly from the main castle. It's not a river of blue water, it's a river of gold. It shimmers, it's brilliant, and it seems to reflect the light above very well. But as you enter into the Autumn District, you realize that the sky shifts to another color. It almost shifts to almost permanent sunset. The trees themselves are not flowering or blooming, but they're always in the state of red, orange, gold colors, with the leaves occasionally falling to the ground and regrowing in the trees once more. The actual city, at least on this side, looks very similar to, the best way I can describe it as, like the French Quarter in New Orleans. A lot of tight roadways, a lot of tight alleyways, buildings that are smushed together but have a very distinct building style of brick and mortar next to wood, next to different architectures that seem to represent a very stable sort of feel to it all. Everything has a very soft brown, orange, and red glow to it. It's all very homey, very warm, but at the same time there is a slight chill in the air. The scent of spiced apple and warm campfires pretty much permeate the entirety of the air. It is not as packed here as compared to the Spring Court. In fact, there's only a few people who are sitting at little cafes, drinking various teas, coffees, and other spiced drinks. And for the most part, people seem to not be giving you much attention. There's a few that you walk past that give you a wide berth, even.
All right, real Fred?
Yes.
Where to?
Wilfred is going to scan around and see if they would happen to notice any sort of... Is there anything that looks like it would be like the capital of this district, or any place that looks like it's probably got, you know, like politically significant people inhabiting it?
Give me an investigation roll.
Investigation.
Yes. Oh, not bad, not bad. You're rolling hot tonight.
Unintended?
No, that's not bad. Not bad thing. Actually, it's better than you guys running in circles.
I'm just saying pun intended because, you know, rolling hot.
Oh.
Fire.
I did.
Mine.
Anyway.
Where's the fire primordial?
I know, and I got it, and I'm kicking myself for that. But, it's not too difficult to navigate your way through this place. This place has a lot of signs, a lot of maps everywhere, and there's a pretty generally, although reserved, but semi-friendly atmosphere, so it's pretty easy to ask for directions here. And, one particular shop owner, you sort of call off to the side for a little bit. They're kind of keeping an eye on the front of the shop, and you kind of peek your head in, like, hey, is there, like, a place we can get some information around? And they're like, and the person you ask is an Eladrin, a Fey elf, as you know them. They have kind of auburn-colored hair, look very peaceful, very serene, and very well kept. And they kind of nod before being like, if you head down the road to the east a bit further, you'll reach the center square. From there, head a bit south, and you'll find the main burrow, if you're looking for questions.
Alright.
Pay in mind, the bureau is incredibly busy at the moment, so I don't think you might be able to get in to see anyone. Just a warning.
Well, we'll have to still see how things are here, because I am here on very important business.
Really? Well, good luck on your business.
Can we pop out her ball, please?
Be careful.
Right.
So you have a general idea of where you could probably go get some information.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, gonna head over that way then.
Mm-hmm. And everyone else is following along?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like home.
The place is pretty cozy. But as you kind of enter the central square, there's a large billboard with a bunch of little flyers and pieces of paper tacked to it. There's a massive, just absolutely huge canopy-style tree that has a kind of willow-like leaves hanging down from the canopy itself. Has very a lot of reds, a lot of oranges, a lot of yellow colors, and occasionally the leaves are falling down to the floor below. They cover the cobblestone streets in a veritable hue of the reds, orange, and yellows. Many of these leaves crunch under your feet as you walk through them. The lanterns along the side of the road are almost always lit, giving everything a kind of a dull orange glow.
It's quite atmospheric.
It is called the Autumn Court. I figured that it would look, I don't know, autumny.
You're not wrong.
Where do you want to head from here?
So the Eladrin said that there was an area for information. They said it might be quite busy, right?
Yeah, they said to the south of the main square would be a bureau type building.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's Wilfred's gonna try to look for that bureau building there.
Okay. As you kind of head to the south a bit, the street does open up a bit more. But along the side of at least the road itself, you see a much larger brick and mortar style building. The front doors are open, but you see there's several people kind of mulling about here. There's people going in and out, and it seems to be almost a business style building in general, with the interior looking like to be a large waiting room, several doors, a receptionist, and that sort of thing. There's a lot of billboards outside of it as well that seem to be posted with different news snippets.
Wilfred will, while they're going by, will take a gander at that news board. Primarily see if there is anything relevant involving the situation with the King's murder.
Go ahead and give me an investigation.
Bruce is good at this, yes?
Yes.
You're pretty good at it, yeah. As you kind of looking through the news articles, you see your typical job postings, like help wanted, this and that. But the one thing that catches your eye is what looks to be a news article clipping from the newspaper. There is a newspaper that floats around Wonderland. It is known as the Wonderland Times. But the first page seems to be pinned with a lot of people with a big red circle around the top header, which is King murdered in cold blood. Current suspects are unknown. And the article goes on to describe how the king was found in his throne room with his neck slit open. And currently there is no weapon to be found. There was currently no main suspects outside of his first son, or his youngest son, known as Reginald, who is currently being held in basically what they call it the gallows, which is essentially their royal prison cells. And is currently the only known individual that is currently being detained at the moment. The Autumn Court has several statements saying that Reginald is innocent, as they have come to their investigations, which there's no details on that currently. And they have a call for anyone that knows any information to either come to the Autumn Court Bureau or to alert any authorities.
Mm-hmm.
And this was published yesterday.
Oh, indeed, the hot news around here.
And of course, there's a few other articles that are from earlier in the months with regicide, the highest degree, and all kinds of crazier titles. But
Chosen regicide.
God damn it.
yeah.
Well,
Does
Wilfred.
it give us any idea?
Hmm?
Does it give us an idea where to go?
Looks like our next stop is still the bureau. So after all, if that's what they're pointing people to that would have information related to this incident, that seems to be the main source for it.
Lead the way. I have no idea what this place is.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing in front of it. That's where the billboard is.
Oh.
No idea.
In fact, the front door, which has a big kind of glass window, it says Autumn Court Bureau. 785 Fallen Leaf Way.
We're gonna go in.
Where?
Wilfred will, before they go in, they adopt like a kind of a straighter posture, as they enter in there.
Okay.
Arms are just to their sides there, but they are trying to look a little more astute, more businesslike as they do enter.
Mhm. And as you enter, it's not very busy. There is a few individuals sitting around the waiting room that seem to be reading the newspaper and the like. The interior is almost like a doctor's office. It's very clean, it's very open. Well, if a doctor's office decided to dress up for Halloween every laking second of every year and every day. So there's like little autumn leaves kind of hung up with little paper mache every now and then, little streamers and banners. It's just kind of enough to kind of break up the almost depressing atmosphere of this place, which is an information bureau. There is a receptionist at the front. From the looks of it, she seems to be another Eladrin with a very autumn auburn hair that kind of streaks down to her shoulders in almost vine-like shapes. She's currently looking through several papers at the moment.
Wilfred will approach the desk there. Pardon me.
She'll kind of briefly put the papers down and kind of pull her reading glasses up. Do you have an appointment?
I'm afraid that's not the case here then. But I was hoping that you would maybe be able to direct us. I'm Wilfred. I'm actually an emissary from the elemental planes, the fire plane to be particular. I'm here to discuss the matter involving your court and the incident with the king's murder.
Unless you have an appointment, you need to take a number and wait, please.
Excuse you? Do you not understand the words coming out of Sir Wilfred's mouth?
And at this point, we are currently incredibly busy. Please take a number and wait.
Right. Wilfred's gonna look to see where this number.
There is a little red ticket dispenser to your left.
Oh. Yeah.
It's the Fey D&D, basically.
Otherwise known around here as around Michigan as Secretary of State Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Wilfred's gonna take that number and
roll me a random 1d200.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
He was on a 1d1000.
Oh.
Yeah, you pull out the number 187, and then you look up to the board. The current standing number is...
Wait a second.
Hold on. Let me redo that. That's not right. 108. So you got a little bit of a weight ahead of you.
Right.
You've never been a diplomat before, Wilfred. You don't simply stand around waiting to be served, you demand to be served. And if you're the representative from Leonard, I highly recommend that you do some demanding. Wilfred.
Quite. Wilfred's gonna head back up to the booth there.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. I'm not sure. Maybe if I was not the most straightforward the first time, but I am an emissary from the fire plane, and I am here on a matter of grave importance.
And she slowly looks up at you. Tilts her glasses down. Unless you have an appointment, you need to take a number and wait.
What if we have information about the king's murder?
Again, unless you have an appointment, please take a number and wait.
Are they a servitor? It seems like they only can say one thing.
They're certainly acting late.
If you are currently unable to speak your mind, blink twice to let us know.
You're more than welcome to wander around the rest of the city. We have intercoms.
What's an intercom?
And then she slowly puts her paperwork down before the number changes on the little now serving side to 109, and you see her speaking to what looks to be a little small orb attached to a wire. It says, Number 109, please report to the Autumn Court Bureau. Number 109. And you can hear it all around you.
Ugh.
That's disturbing.
It's like when headmasters wanted everyone's attention. I don't like that.
Yes, it's a magic spell, not some kind of weird orb with wires.
Is it Light?
I have no idea. So we can wander around freely, and then you'll call whatever number we've got, and then we have to come back here. And how long do we have before our number is, shall we say, disregarded?
You have about half an hour.
Right.
Do a little bit of math real quick.
Well. I mean, obviously it's, as a dignitary, I guess it is important for us to, you know, honor the rules of this place we're visiting. So, come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's step outside for now for some fresh air.
You see various sort of doing some math in his head, and oh dear.
Yes.
Then again, it could be less. But if everyone takes the maximum amount of time to report before us, we'll be stuck here for 39 hours.
To the Fae DMV.
That's absurd.
Well, that is what the math says.
You all go on ahead. I'll remain here to make sure that nothing strange happens with our number.
Oh no.
Of course, Filbert.
I'll stay with my friend Filbert. Best we don't get too separated.
Yes, quite. Do us a favor. If they somehow do have a sudden briskness to, you know, to our number coming up, do let us know. We shouldn't be too far away.
You should hear it on the intercom.
Yes, of course. Anyways, Roberta, Miriam, let's step on here and make some room for the others. Meantime. And as they are, is Roberta and Miriam following along then?
Yep.
And as soon as we're outside the door, Wilfred's like posture suddenly slides like, oh great, now what?
We could go to the castle.
I mean, I don't really have a better idea than that. Though, it's probably gonna be like guards and that outside there, so
We can try and go see, Reginald.
Dungeon castle.
Oh.
that might be a little bit tricky there, considering that they're over in the gallows there. I don't think the visitation rights are open to everyone in that regard.
Sorry. I still think we should at least see if the castle's kind of like Leonard's or not. If anyone is able to even get close or not.
I mean, that's a valid point there. Might as well, let's still, I guess, case it out at least. If we can't get in, we can at least get a little better understanding of it.
Quick to the castle.
Okay, we'll go find the castle.
Okay. Give me a second.
You guys might not be out there that long.
Holy, okay!
Go
As
focus.
you guys are starting to walk out of the bureau and toward the castle, all of a sudden you hear the intercom chime to life. Attention, we seem to be having an issue with our intercom system and our number waiting system, but can number 187 please report to the court bureau?
Oh,
Did
that was
Filbert,
fast.
what did Filbert do since Dillard was there with him?
He was watching something, taking notes, and then immediately kind of waved his hands, and the number changed. Who knows?
Hmm.
Oh, well, I suppose our number's up then.
In more ways than one. Haha.
The reception seems to be talking with someone, and they seem to be chatting a bit. But do you guys approach the counter?
Yes, Wilfred is going to, very dignifiedly, going to go ahead to approaching the counter and will present their ticket.
No, she'll take the ticket and say, I apologize, it seems as our ticket system is being a little strange, but go ahead and head to the left door, and to the door immediately on your right. And she'll kind of motion to the side.
Thank you.
How lucky we are. Yes, our number. Into the door.
Yep, going on in.
Walking down the footpath.
And as you enter the door to the left, you see a large hallway in front of you. But the very first door on your right, as she told you to enter, is the office that seems to have the name placard of Sire Leonhardt.
Alright. Wilfred looks back to the others. Here goes nothing. And straightening up, Wilfred's going to lightly tap their knuckles on the door.
And you hear a kind of a deep rumble voice go, "The door's open, please come in."
And yeah, Wilfred will pull it open and we'll step on in.
You open the door. It's a rather large office, but there's papers and folders and filing cabinets everywhere. The place is a bit of a mess, a bit of a hectic mess. You see a large board on one side of the room that has a lot of red string and a red tape connected to different points. That looks to be a large map of Wonderland. And at the desk is a rather large and imposing figure of a Leonin, which is a large lion man. He's dressed in a sort of a what's the best way to describe it? Short cream sleeve shirt, button-down shirt with a vest over it and a tie that's a little loose because he's been working, as well as a set of nice slacks and suspenders. The typical noir-style clothing that someone might wear if they were a detective of sorts. And they have a big, white, fluffy mane, kind of muscular, like you're worried that maybe the shirt might be a little too tight on them. But they kind of look up. There's a small little set of spectacles on his round nose. He's like, please come on in and have a seat. It's a little bit messy. Can I get you folks anything?
Filbert. Filbert.
Yes, Dylan?
He has very big teeth.
Yes, I'm quite aware of the feline before us that could devour us. Quite whole, yes. Mm-hmm. This is why Rose is going... I mean, Wilfred is going forward.
I put a picture of Leonin in the OOC channel.
Big kitty.
Big, very big kitty.
Big scary kitty.
Very
Ooh,
big, scary
big.
kitty, yeah. Oh no, he's hot!
Yes.
Wilfred will give a little polite bow and will direct themselves to a seat. Thank you.
Can I get you folks anything? We do have coffee or tea if that's fancy. You see that he has at least 2 or 3 cups that are empty on his desk that have probably been there a while.
I'm sufficient for now. The rest of you though, if you need anything, feel free.
Various is hiding behind the possibly, or I should say, Dillard is hiding behind Filbert.
Alright.
Wilfred's keeping the best poker face he can.
There's plenty of chairs around the room to sit in. What is the wisdom roll for?
To not hit on him.
I mean, if you want to, but he seems to be busy with his work.
No, it was a roll to make sure that didn't happen, and it didn't happen, so it's okay.
Oh, yeah, he is pretty attractive looking. So
He's a hot lion.
And he's a detective, honey.
He's a detective, honey.
he's a detective, exactly. But he'll sit back down in his chair. It's like, so what can I do for you folks?
Yes. I believe introductions are first in order. I am Wilfred. I'm an emissary for the plane of fire.
He'll kind of reach forward with a big ol' like chunky hand. It's like, I'm sorry, Leonhart. Please feel free to call me Leon.
Leon. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. And yes, I'm. You'll have to excuse me. I'm afraid I'm still a little newly appointed to my position as emissary. I've been suddenly activated, as it were, by my lord Leonard. It's actually concerning the unfortunate matter of the murder of the Fey King.
Oh, I am assuming that the talks with the Summer Court and Leonard have not gone well.
That's putting it lightly. Yes. I was not particularly present, but the debriefing I had from my lord was that the talks got a little bit heated, shall we say.
He seems to fold his arms and hands on the desk and seems to nod at this. It's like, typically when such operations are dealt with, it's typically taken to the king, but as of currently, we do not have a king.
Quite, I can see that. But yes, to be brief, basically, my lord feels that given the sudden presence of the other courts, then that he felt it was prudent to dispatch me here to Wonderland, to basically to speak with your court then, and I understand that you yourselves are in a predicament against the wall, shall we speak, trying to find a solution to this case.
Does the queen take over?
No.
So who takes over in the king's absence?
At this point, typically it is one of their heirs. But at this point, as you are well aware with the news, the currently only available heir is now in prison.
Where's the other one?
No one knows.
How did you lose a prince?
And kind of shrugs his shoulders like, No one outside of the king and the queen know their location. No
Well,
one else
Shouldn't
was
we-
given
shouldn't
information.
the queen bring the prince back to take the place?
It could have been an assassination. They might not
The
have liked
queen
this.
is currently under house arrest
Why is she under house arrest?
because many of the royal court fear for her safety.
But you say you have the killer already in prison.
That is what the summer court thinks. We of the autumn do not believe Reginald is at fault. We are the same in mind with the winter court, but considering the evidence at this point does point toward Reginald, we have to forcefully arrest him.
What evidence would that be?
We cannot discuss that.
You'll have to excuse the directness of my entourage here. They are as eager as I am to try to come to a resolution with this. By the way, let me introduce them. Of course, my apologies for not proper decorum. These two folk right here, and we'll gesture over to the Gardenians. This is Filbert and Dillard.
Luminosa.
Sorry.
My name is Luminosa.
Very well.
Yes.
I'm Darius is doing that. I'm going to strangle you motion.
Right. Yes, this here, it's, as she's made herself known, she's my, bodyguard, essentially. And then the two, other folk here, Filbert and Dillard, they are, both esteemed mages, who have also traveled with me here. And then, we also have, Miriam, our scribe.
Mm-hmm.
She takes all the notes down. Very good at it.
Very well.
But yes, getting back to the case of Reginald, what leads you to believe that they are not responsible?
What
As
makes
of
you
right
think he's
now-
innocent?
Essentially, our current standing evidence is the fact that Reginald was not present at the time of the king's murder. They were currently in the realms of mortals, as they have been for the past several years. They only recently returned following the death of their father.
Then how could they arrest him for the death of the father if he wasn't even here?
Because the blade that was entrusted to the youngest son was found at the scene of the crime. That is the current standing.
It could have been stolen.
As we said, we cannot share the details of the case at this time with anyone.
So who's in charge right now while all this is happening?
No one.
There has to be somebody that's running things if the courts have the prince locked away.
Currently, each district is being governed by their own governing bodies. Summer is governed by the Southern Monarch, and so on and so forth.
So that brings up an important question.
Mhm.
If both the heirs are indisposed,
Mhm.
who comes into power?
Good
We
question.
don't know yet, and currently, until the investigation is closed, the throne is not open for anyone.
Has anyone been consolidating power?
He kind of
Or-
gives you a slight raise of the brow. It's like you all talking about the courts of the major seasons. Almost every single one of them are.
Yes, but were there any that were starting to make moves before the murder?
Who's the most
Yeah.
ambitious?
Everyone would believe you to believe Summer is that. But they're always been known for that. Even the previous king was of the Summer alignment.
The dead one?
Yes, Lord Siegfried.
And were there any signs of any of these courts acting out of character?
I am afraid I cannot discuss that with civilians.
So yes.
He kind of gives a slight smirk.
How do we get on this case?
Well, you have to discuss your purpose of handling the case with the current chief of said case.
Who's the chief?
He kind of opens his hands up.
Him.
Oh, well, we're a neutral party, so we're the best ones to be on the case. We have no stake in either side.
Do you have any prior experience to solving murder cases?
We solved the false Hydra case once.
Kind of raises a brow at this.
And there goes all our anonymity out the window.
I'm afraid we've never had an issue with the false Hydra here in Wonderland.
It's a terrible thing, but yes, we solved the false Hydra case once. We have, oh my, we've done all sorts of things.
Luminos, I know you're one to
Oh
brag.
my god!
I know you're one to brag about your oh my god, I'm blanking a word here.
Competence?
Accomplishments. Thank you. Yes, I know you're one to brag about your accomplishments, and I know that you're technically in a hired hand here, but perhaps a little more decorum at the moment, please.
I don't know what that word means.
Well, I will say there's been a regicide, and that is a problem.
And we are a neutral party, and we're not vying for power like the other courts, so we're the perfect ones to investigate it. And bring the true killer to justice.
Look, Leon, I can understand that you are obviously wanting individuals who have experience there, and given the sensitivity of what's happened, that's completely understandable. But I should note here as well, and Wilfred would do that little shifty-eyed look. Can I have your full confidence what I'm about to share with you does not leave this room?
Most of the information in my room does not leave this room.
I'm afraid so. Leonard dispatching me to here is not just in the matter of the King's murder, but we've also been dealing with. Are you familiar with the gentry named Jericho Hall?
Many of us are, yes. They are the current rulers of the Cobalt Gardens, along with Tavolt, or also known as Florence. We are well aware.
Right. I'm not sure if you've heard of the various incidents that have taken place in the plains recently, but there's been some. Let's just say that Jericho has not been feeling himself recently, and Leonard's been trying to put what resources he can towards trying to help Jericho deal with his issue. Then and it's his understanding that it may be, even if tangentially, is at least related to the situation with the King's murder. Then, to what extent we don't know exactly, but Leonard feels that action needs to be taken before both of these situations go any more out of proportion. That's why me and my entourage are here then, to assist in this matter.
I do not see how neither of the two could be connected, considering the fact that they rule their own court, the Moon Court. They do not currently reside in Wonderland. If anything, the Cobalt Gardens have been dormant in these past few years, due to their leaving.
Do you want them to be not dormant?
No, we want them to remain dormant.
Then...
Those two are incredibly dangerous Fae.
Then... we can help each other. Because we would enjoy it if they stay dormant as well.
He kind of makes a motion for his hand as elaborate.
Oh. What? Give me 1 second.
Let me put it this way as well then. back in the plains, there is, well, just as the courts have to navigate the ways around Run, there's a similar thing with our lords back home. We've had to, our group ourselves have had to deal with sensitive discussions with each of them here. So while it may not be exactly in your wheelhouse, we do have experience, at least with related matters.
Wilfred.
Yes. Dillard?
I have the sense that just speaking plainly would get us further with this individual.
Of course.
And he's just watching you. He's waiting. He's very patient. That's probably why they put him on this case.
Look, there's... Okay, let's put it this way here then. Like Dillard said, we are a neutral party. We have no stake in what happens with any of the courts here. We just yourself, we want to get some semblance of stability here and find out who the culprit is then. And like I said, maybe it may not make a lot of sense to you, and I completely understand that. But we feel that if we can find out what's going on here, then it may help us with trying to keep Jericho and his ilk dormant as well then. Let me put it this way. We assist you with keeping the courts from tearing each other apart. You can maybe help us too with finding a way from keeping the gentry from tearing the plains apart.
Are you trying to be deceitful at all, by chance?
I don't know if it's necessarily deceitful. I mean,
there's nothing deceitful in there.
Okay.
No, I think he's trying to
Roll me a persuasion.
Oh boy.
Enjoy.
Persuasion.
Enjoy.
That was his insight.
I mean, on the upside, that means he knows that that Wilfred is being honest.
And you see him, that means that 5 is not an automatic fail. That was just how well you were trying to convey your point. That roll was his insight. Like, again, he's a detective. He knows things. So you see him kind of fold his hands on the table. His elbows are kind of propped up on it as well. And he seems to be staring right at you, Rose. Just straight dead on. It's the look of someone who has been trained to be able to
look
see
of a cat looking at a mouse.
Basically, but this is someone who's been trained to look...
No, not a rabbit, please.
To pick through the words that someone is putting forward and pick through to find the lies from the truth. And he kind of nods his head a bit at you. And then before kind of leaning back in his chair with the chair groans a little bit. He's a big guy. He's like, we are looking for other hands for the case, yes. But again, I am looking for individuals who have experience with looking into and handling delicate matters. Do you have that ability? Can you look for information? Can you investigate the scene? And can you keep quiet on it? As of right now, any information that we can find is very useful, but it needs to be information that doesn't get into the wrong hands or can be tampered with. This is a crime scene, after all.
The fact that you don't know who we are and what we've done is paramount to exactly how delicate of situations we've been handling without blathering it out.
This is the Feywild as well. Any sort of credentials or achievements you have in other planes of existence do not matter here. So if you are adventurous from another plane of existence from the mortal realm, I'm afraid whatever merits you have there mean nothing here.
So what you're asking is, have we done any kind of investigation with the Fae?
In general, do you have experience with this sort of thing?
Yes.
With murders? Quite.
Okay. And are you trying to be And kind of nods at you.
We've been around murders, just not in the Fey realm.
Alright.
We have no reason to share our information with anyone. We want this, as Wilfred has said, to be taken care of. Additionally, if we were to be working for you, you would be the first for us to deliver any information to. There'd be no reason to go anywhere else. As we said, we have no affiliation. Additionally, I don't know if you know the one known as Auntie, but she could vouch for us as well.
And you see him actually take something out. It is a stone of sending. You
Go
see
ahead,
him.
ask her. Tell her the two adorable Gardanians, or as they've called us.
May I have your names?
There's no point.
Different phrasing, please.
Just tell her Luminosa's here. She'll understand.
And you see him press a clawed thumb to the stone. It lights up, and he takes up a few moments. Auntie R, I have a few individuals here in my office. They say they are affiliates of yours. One Luminosa and a few other individuals. Please respond. And he'll stop willing for a few seconds, and he'll wait. Before a few seconds, the stone lights up again. You hear from the other side. Are they really coming to your door and barking it down? Well, at least I know they made it there safe. Yeah, I know them. I know them. Kids, if you can hear me, please don't get into trouble. Don't cause Mr. Leon any trouble. He's a very hard-working man. Then he'll kind of look at all of you as the stone goes quiet.
See, she knows us. We get into trouble, and we generally fix said trouble that we find ourselves into. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. If you deny us working on this, we're going to do it anyway. And you will not have the benefit of us giving you the information we find.
And he kind of chuckles at this. You hear a little deep little. I've worked with adventurers before. I know your lot.
Is that what we are? We adventurers? Really? Sounds so bare, so low class.
Tell you what, I am looking for some assistance on this case. There's a reason why my office is open in the first place, or else I would be there on the scene at the moment. So, if you're willing, I'll bring you all on board. However, he kind of looks over every single one of you. I am well aware that you are not giving your true names. You do not have to worry for me. I am not Fey. I'm a Leonin. I'm immortal, much as the rest of you. I work here because my family has worked in this particular bureau for many generations. So, if you wish to work on this case, I will need your names. They will not leave this room, nor will they leave my mouth. That, I promise.
My name is not Filbert. That is a terrible name. My actual name is Tiberius Remington Vermont.
And you'll see him pull out a small kind of worn notebook from his vest, and he'll write that down.
Luminosa, why did you choose Dillard?
Because it was nowhere near your real name.
Ugh.
She is very keen on that, and it's always a very good thing to have a name that is nowhere near your true name.
Well, I said.
Various Markin Burrows.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Rose.
Okay. He'll write that down. Then he'll look at you, Freya.
Freya Morgana.
Okay. And then he'll
I didn't
finally
know
look
you
at
had a surname.
And then he'll look at you, Luminosa.
Luminosa.
He stares at you for a very long moment. Almost looking through you. Before being like, very well. He'll write something down in his book. And then he'll close it and stuff it into his vest before getting up from his chair. It kind of groans a little bit from his weight before holding a large hand out to all of you to shake. Well, welcome aboard, juniors.
I need to roll something.
Uh-oh.
Tiberius will take the paw.
Has a very
Yes.
big paw. Your hand
Yeah.
probably fits around one of his fingers.
Tiberius is used to staring death in the face, so it's fine. Lowers them for a reason.
Various is
Oh,
going
wisdom. Oh, for Various.
Various is gonna take the hand.
This is a very
Though
big
it's
hand.
very clear that he's ready to run the opposite direction if
So, we're working for you. You wish to have our first bit of information, and you're going to bring us up to speed with all of the questions that we asked that you said you could not give to the public. Yes?
Correct. I need to bring you up to speed with the current case as it is so far.
Excellent.
I best start with the basics. 3 months ago, our Lord Sigfried was murdered in cold blood. The blade of the heir, which was given to the youngest child, was used in the murder. His blood was found on it and was found at the scene of the crime. However, no fingerprints were found on the blade, nor were there any guards that bore witness to anyone entering or leaving the premises. That is currently how the case stands as it is. However, Reginald, the youngest son, was found only a few days later returning to Wonderland, inquiring about his father's demise. Reginald has been in the mortal plane for several years now. However, the moment he arrived, the Summer Court blamed him for the murder, as his blade was the one found at the scene of the crime, and have had him imprisoned. Currently, my court is investigating the entirety of the situation, while Winter is currently fighting for Reginald's freedom. That is the case so far.
Can I ask
The
a very
mother, the mother is currently in house arrest to protect her from, in the advent, true murderer, as we've decided to call it, has decided to return and finish the job. As of currently, unless all of the royal family are killed, no one can take the throne.
But nobody knows where a missing princess.
No. That is not information that even the queen knows.
like to point out, it would be rather sloppy for someone to leave a blade that can be directly linked back to a very specific individual at the scene of a murder.
And he nods like that was our reasoning as well. We believe it was planted.
And
By who, we do not know.
when I asked about if anyone had been acting oddly, you dodged my question.
Because I was not
So,
allowed to discuss it at the time, yes.
well, you are now.
Mm-hmm. At least from our current reports, the Viscount of Summer and the Summer Monarch have been, the better term for it is, flexing power recently, and up until the king's demise. They believed he had gone soft, and believed that his wife had tainted his views of his usual tyrannical behaviors. And they were quite vocal of it.
So an
Okay,
inner
yeah.
schism inside the Summer Court was forming.
Correct.
Say again, hun?
They wanted him to be a monster?
Spring, on the other hand, has been relatively silent. They tend to prefer their parties and being left alone. They have thus given no insight or care into the case. If anything, they've
And
been rather
Autumn?
dismissive of it all. We're the ones investigating. In fact, we were the first to agree to investigate the case, while the others either refused or lacked the resources.
Varus's eyes narrow slightly.
Both Summer and Spring refused to take on the case. Summer believed that it was a concrete and obvious culprit. Spring refused to comment, and Winter currently lacks the resources to pursue the case. They are currently in the process of defending Reginald and trying to free him from the gallows, but they are receiving substantial pushback from Summer.
You were saying?
We should go speak with Reginald first then and see what his side of the story is.
No one currently is allowed to enter unless they are part of the Bureau, and he gives a smile, which you now are.
So if we can get his side of the story, we can see exactly if he might have an inkling as to who would try to frame him for such a thing, if he knows more about what was happening within the courts before he left.
We do have written interviews, but he doesn't seem to have any information. Unless you would like to speak to him yourself and see if you can find something more.
Can't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt.
Well,
That's
before you
all.
leave, I will need to get you badges. They will not let you through the gates without them.
Mm-hmm.
And where do we get these badges?
He's getting them.
I need to make them as he's beginning to go through his desk, and he pulls out little folded leather wallet-looking things, and he begins to write several things on several very official-looking papers, including your names, which vanish after a few seconds before being replaced with your fake names. And then he begins writing other information about who your sponsor is, who you're currently working under, which is Sire Leonhardt of the Autumn Bureau. And then he'll kind of push each one towards you, as well as a small little ink pad. I need you to place your fingerprints on each one of these.
Yeah, Tiberius is gonna look at his paw.
Paw prints, paw print, fingerprint, either works. It's to identify it as you.
And it's in ink, not blood.
It's ink. He kind of points to the pad. It looks like a little sponge, a black sponge, and it's very much wet if you press down onto it.
Oh, please. We've already given him our real names. Tiberius is just gonna literally like slap his hand down on the pad and then onto the piece of document.
Just a little.
Be
And
careful, it
he'll
squirts.
offer you some tissues to wipe your hand off when you're done.
Be careful, it squirts.
You did slap your
what?
paw on it.
Question though, but just out of curiosity, do primordials have fingerprints?
Technically, yes.
Oh, okay, good to know.
In fact, Rose, as you do this and you press your fingerprint into the badge, you realize that there is the symbol for the point of fire, that kind of like runic-looking fire spark. That's what's there. It identifies your element. So fun little primordial fact. Their fingerprints are the elemental sigils that represent their element.
Uh-huh.
Slowly looks over at Luminosa.
Someone else is gonna do their fingerprint?
1 second.
Yeah, I'll put my hand down.
And your fingerprint looks to be it's a circular shape, a circular runic shape with almost sunlight rays coming off of it. Like a sun, like a sun. Yep. Okay. And once you all gave your fingerprints, he will kind of look them over before doing any double checks before handing each of you your unique badge. This will be essentially your pass through the entirety of Wonderland. If anyone gives you any hassle, if you're trying to get to the crime scene or question individuals, show these badges. They'll know you're with us.
So this is a symbol of power.
Essentially. Do not abuse
You
it.
should not have said that.
Tiberius
And
is
I'm
now going to be flipping that in front of everyone he meets.
Damn it.
I will say this will only give you access to information and nothing more. We're investigators and detectives.
Yes, but information is power.
And with that, let's go ahead and take our 10 to 15 minute break, since we're at our 2-hour mark. Okay? So I'll be back in 15 minutes, folks.